Welcome to Inspiration and Transformation from the Banks of the Ganga with Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati, an American sannyasi living at the Parmarth Niketan ashram in Rishikesh, India. Sadhvi is president of the Divine Shakti Foundation, a charitable organization bringing education, vocational training, upliftment, and empowerment programs to women and children. Sadhvi is also Secretary General of the Global Interfaith Wash Alliance and Director of the world-famous International Yoga Festival. Join the musings of an American sannyasi as Sadhvi shares the wisdom and teachings of her guru, His Holiness Pujya Swami Chidanand Saraswatiji.
Welcome, everyone, to Inspiration and Transformation from the holy banks of the sacred Ganga River in the land of Rishikesh, India. How does a common person think about spirituality? Tragically, spirituality is something that has been made very complex. It's been made to seem as though if you don't take a long course, get a degree, do something that's very, very time-intensive, labor-intensive, that somehow you can't be spiritual. But spirituality literally means of the spirit, pertaining to spirit. And what spirituality is simply a commitment to living our lives, seeing spirit rather than focusing on matter. So there's two ways to see this world. One way is what we call the material way, which says, I'm this body. I'm over here. There's this empty space. You're there. Empty space. You're there. Empty space. You're there. Like that. Now, we have bodies, so seeing the world spiritually doesn't mean that we ignore the body or deny the body. It's just a shift of focus. And so the spiritual way says, I'm spirit. You're spirit. That spirit that flows through me is the same as that which flows through you. And so there isn't actually a place where I end and you begin. And that ultimately is all that spirituality is. Learning lots of really complicated and sophisticated terms is wonderful, because it gives us a nice avenue to discuss them. So as you learn different Sanskrit words, we start to ask, okay, well, what does that mean? Then we start to be able to talk about them. Taking classes and courses is wonderful. You keep learning things. But none of that is required to be spiritual. To be spiritual is simply a decision that I am going to focus on spirit rather than matter. And again, I don't deny the matter. I take care of it. I love it. I feed it. I do whatever I can to, whether it's the matter of my body, the matter of your body, whatever it may be, we appreciate it. All of that in the creation, this beautiful world we live in, we love it, we appreciate it, but we don't identify as it. And we don't use it as our way of understanding the world. So I don't understand the world based on my body. I don't understand it based on this space between you and me as though we were somehow different. My understanding of the world becomes an understanding of spirit. And so when you think about who are you? Who are other people? What's your role in the world? What's your relationship with the world? Why are you here? Instead of having answers pertaining to matter, who I am is this tall, I weigh this much, here's my history. Who I am is the relationship with you, who's that tall, you weigh this much, here's your history. Together we own this thing and that thing, or we've created this other being. Instead of all of those aspects of matter, of form, being what I think about and how I identify, it's spirit, consciousness. And that's what's in you as well. And that's all saying you're spiritual means, is I've made a concerted, conscious decision that I'm going to move through the world focused on spirit. So when someone says, "Who are you?" I'm going to first think about spirit, soul, consciousness, love, rather than the degree I have, or how much money I have, or the relationships I have. When I meet someone, instead of focusing on what they look like, instead of focusing on the form, the matter, I'm going to try to focus on spirit. I'm going to focus on soul, consciousness. I'm going to try to interact with the world, whether it's another human being, whether it's a tree, whether it's a sunset, whatever it may be, any aspect of this creation. I'm going to interact with it, spirit to spirit, rather than object to object. And literally that is all spirituality has to mean. You want to learn the Sanskrit words? Fantastic. As I said, they're doorways. So you learn the word gyan, wisdom. Wonderful. That's a great doorway, because when you learn that word, then suddenly, depending on the context you learn it in, it brings up so many opportunities for you to acquire gyan. You learn the word yog. Great. So through learning the word yog, we learn the benefits of practicing yog. Maybe tomorrow you'll start practicing. We learn the word dharma, or karma, or dhyan. Through learning these words, we're learning concepts that are very, very relevant to our life. So it's great to learn the words. It's great to study the scriptures of any religion, depending on whatever religion you are. But don't confuse study or knowledge or facts or language for spirituality. You can be spiritual without knowing a word of any of this. You could be spiritual without having read the books. As long as your life is committed to moving through the world as spirit and interacting with the world as spirit. The rest is a bonus. The rest is the path of understanding, the path of wisdom, the path of ecstasy, right? So if we want to hit samadhi, well, there's 8 limbs of yoga to go through. So all of the other things that we want on our spiritual path, it's what we need all of these other concepts and practices and wisdom for. But to simply be spiritual, we don't actually need it. To simply be spiritual, we simply need to commit ourselves to that focus. And so that's whether you are a common man or an uncommon person. Either way, that's all we need to do.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
Hi, this is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Every 2 minutes, another American is sexually assaulted. If you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, you are not alone. Help is just a call or click away through the National Sexual Assault Hotline. Please call 1-800-656-HOPE, that's HOPE, or visit RAIN.org, that's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Welcome back to Inspiration and Transformation. I'm so glad to have you all back here with me. How do we find balance between respecting others and maintaining self-respect? If someone is disrespecting us, how do we know when to just let it go versus saying something to the other person about how they impact us, which would be maintaining our self-respect? Here's what's interestingly ironic. Choosing peace is actually the most respectful thing you can do for yourself. A lot of us think that in order to maintain my self-respect, in order to maintain my dignity, I have to fight against, correct, put down, answer all of those who would criticize me or disrespect me. And the truth is that actually, in the vast majority of cases, that's just a complete total waste of time and energy. And the most self-respecting thing you can do is appreciate the preciousness of your time and your energy. There will always be people who disrespect us. Move through the world enough, get out enough, there will be people who disrespect you, whether it's something as anonymous as someone cuts you off in traffic. Okay, clearly not about you, nonetheless disrespectful. Or whether it's someone who actually disrespects you as an individual, puts you down, criticizes you. In either case, we have a choice, and the choice is I engage with that energy, which takes energy from us. It takes time of ours. I engage with it. Or I let it go. And the misconception, the tragic misconception is that letting it go is somehow not respecting myself, that letting it go is somehow being weak. When actually needing to correct everyone about me, needing to make sure everyone knows what a good person I am, needing to make sure that no one thinks anything wrong about me, that's much more a sign of inner weakness. Because that's much more a sign of my own self-worth is so shaky that the minute anyone outside of me criticizes me or doubts me or judges me, my entire self-worth inside collapses. And so I need to make sure that the metaphoric bricks in the building of my ego self are all in place. And of course, those bricks are the people in my world. Everybody needs to like me, respect me, be nice to me, treat me in a nice way. Then that sense of who I am, that structure I've created, is stable. And the minute that one of those bricks becomes loose, the minute that someone doesn't love me, doesn't respect me, isn't nice to me, the whole edifice of my self-worth starts to crumble. And that's a really precarious position to be in life, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy to keep all those bricks in place. Because remember, those bricks are people outside of us. Those bricks are not us. And to try to control the thoughts or the behavior of people who aren't us is at best very time consuming. At best very energy consuming. Typically an absolute exercise in futility, because you just can't do it. And so if I spend my life trying to answer people who criticize me or disrespect me, I'm using a large percentage of my time and my energy doing that. And in many cases, it may be absolutely futile, because there's no saying that I'm going to be able to convince you. There's no saying that I'm going to set you right. And if I stand up to you and answer you, there's no saying that's going to make you respect me more. I mean, if you criticize someone, you judge someone badly, you disrespect someone, and they yell at you or slap you or insult you, are you going to respect them anymore? You're going to respect them less. If that person has a complete meltdown because you've disrespected them, are you going to respect them more? You're going to respect them less. And so my advice in almost all of these cases is choose love. Love for yourself. If that person doesn't love you, fine. At least you can love yourself. And in loving yourself, it's I don't have to engage. I don't actually need every single person's respect. I don't actually need everybody who knows me to love me and respect me. I mean, can you imagine the job of that? I mean, how much time and energy that actually would take to ensure that everyone actually, forget love, actually just liked and respected you? You would have no time or energy left to do anything else. And so the sooner we realize that inevitably there will be people who don't love us, who don't even like us, who don't respect us, fine. Well, I love myself. I respect myself enough to know that the last thing I need to do is dissipate my energy in fighting those people. If someone has a legitimate issue with me, well, I certainly would hope that they would be honest to come to me about it and to give me a chance to clear the air. But if someone is just being disrespectful, choose love. Love for yourself. Love for them if you can muster it. Move on. If it's someone with whom you have what we'll call a recurring relationship, it's a colleague, it's a neighbor, it's someone in your friend circle, it's a family member, well, then it makes sense to actually sit them down and try to have a conversation about it. But not out of self-respect, not out of I have to set them straight, not out of I need to make that right, otherwise I'm not respecting myself. Not out of that. Simply in service of living in peace. So if there's someone you're living with, either during the days or during the nights or on the weekends or on a regular basis, yeah, you don't want to have unnecessary conflict if you can avoid it. But if it's not someone you have to spend that much time with, let it go. We've got 24 hours in a day. Sounds like a lot. It's very little. And when you add up the amount of time that goes in sleeping, eating, bathing, taking care of our basic necessities, there's really very little disposable time left. And the question becomes, well, what am I going to do with that time? Am I going to use it to serve, to love, to grow? Or am I going to use it to try to engage in futility? And that's up to us. That's a choice we make. But you absolutely do not have to respond to someone or set them straight in order to feel like you have self-respect. Again, it's the opposite. If you really respect yourself, value your time, value your energy. And that goes also to things about others. It's not just about you. This is the same teaching of why we don't gossip, why we don't waste time in judgment of others. A, it pollutes our mind and heart, but B, it's just an absolute waste of really precious time and energy. If I've only got a few hours at my disposal per day, do I really want to waste them talking nonsense or listening to nonsense about other random people? I mean, what a complete waste of time and energy. Aside from the pollution of my mind and heart. And so, all of these things, people who talk nonsense to me, about others, we try to just avoid it as much as possible. Take care. Take care of your time. Take care of your energy. The same way, I mean, we're really good, most of us, at taking care of our money. You know, you've only got a finite amount. You're not going to spend it uselessly. You're not going to just kind of throw it here and there. Somebody says something, you throw money at them. Somebody says something else, you throw money at them. We understand money is precious. No, I'm not going to just throw money at you because you said something stupid. But time is even more precious than money. And so if we wouldn't throw money at someone who said something stupid, why would we throw time at them? I'm not going to pay someone to tell me stupid stories about other people. If I'm not going to give them money, why would I give them time? And so really ask yourself in these situations, would I throw money at this situation? And if not, then why would I throw time? Why is my time so much less precious to me than my money? Money you can always earn more of. Time, there's no way to refill your time bank. So it actually should be valued even more than our money. So the most self-respecting thing you can do in every moment, choose love, choose peace, choose light, choose positivity. It doesn't mean we brush over painful things. It doesn't mean we sweep things under the carpet when there's real issues, real problems, real pain. But it means that we don't let our most precious asset get dissipated in things that aren't real, that are just someone else's story, someone else's drama, someone else's lack of introspection. And that's an important distinction to make. You know, when we meditate, and we meditate on our third eye, it's the Agya Chakra, which is this energy center of discrimination. It's the power of discrimination. And typically we talk about the ability to discriminate truth from untruth. And that's what the third eye does, is this. Can you see the truth? Which is divinity, oneness, wholeness, compared to separation, form, These two eyes see separation, they see form. The third eye sees oneness, divinity. But discrimination, it's not only on that level. It's also on a level when we talk about truth. It's not only that highest level truth of ourself as consciousness truth. It's also the truth of the every minute and every moment of our life. Is this real? Is this something I need to look at? Sometimes, yeah, absolutely. We all have things we need to look at. Or is this just someone's drama? Is this something someone else needs to look at? But because I happen to be physically too close to them, it's sort of dripping out onto me. And in those cases, we don't spend time with it. We choose to protect our precious asset of time. And we choose love for ourselves, peace for ourselves. And we don't bother trying to set other people straight. As long as you're straight and you're set, doesn't matter the people in the world around you. You'll become sort of a magnet of that. And the people who matter will understand. The people who don't understand, okay, it's part of life. The sooner we all realize that, the better. The better we can start protecting our time and energy.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Like Baldwin with People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. I grew up loving circuses and other traveling animal shows, but it never occurred to me what life might be like for the animals. Training wild animals to do things they don't understand takes force. Routine discipline with a hook or whip with the heel of a boot shows the animal exactly who's the boss. Don't patronize animal acts. Please contact People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
757-622-PETA.
Welcome back. This is Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati with inspiration and transformation. Why are there so many obstacles in life? Well, the first piece of this is, in whose book is something an obstacle? Something comes on our path. And there's a lot of ways to look at it. One way is an obstacle. I want to go there. This thing is on my path. This is an obstacle. Another way to look at it is something that has been given to you on the path to make you stronger as you walk it. So you're still clear, this is my path. Okay, instead of just a simple walk along my path, now I have this great big boulder that I get to learn how to walk over. That's going to increase my strength. It's going to give me some extra muscles. It'll increase my balance. It'll increase my nimbleness, because to crawl over the boulder and get down is going to require a little bit more flexibility and nimbleness and strength than simply walking on the path. Another way to look at it is, thank God this came, because I was going so fast down the wrong path that if this thing hadn't fallen off the mountain right into the road and I weren't stopped, I would have continued all the way down the wrong path. Thank God this boulder fell on my road so that I actually had to stop and take a moment. And in that moment, I realized I was going the wrong way. Mahatma Gandhi said so beautifully, what's the point of going so fast when you're going in the wrong direction? And so sometimes the obstacles on our path are actually there, not just to drive us crazy going in the same way we were going, but actually to give us a message and say, hey, wait, maybe that's not the way to go after all. Maybe this enormous, insurmountable boulder that has just fallen on your path is actually God's way of saying, don't go there. And we don't always listen. I'll tell you another personal story on this. So, I love to hike. I love to be in the mountains, but I especially love to actually hike and backpack. And I used to do a lot of backpacking and a lot of trekking. And we had gone to Gangotri, the source of Mother Ganga, the temple at the source of Mother Ganga. And we had done this beautiful trek out to Gomukh, which is the actual source, the glacier source. And it was a beautiful, beautiful trip that we had done. A couple of years later, we were going up to Gangotri for an event, a program, and for also some projects that we were instituting there. And there was not a plan this time to go out to Gomukh. But I had set my mind, I'm going to go. Puja Swamiji had said, don't go, there's no need to go. Stay, we've got all of this work that we're doing in Gangotri for a clean green program in Gangotri and work that we were doing there to help clean it, beautify it, etc. He said, you can go out to Gomukh another time, this time, stay. But I was stubborn. So I said, no, I'm going to go. He said, okay. Because he's that type of guru. Okay. So we get up to Gangotri, and the next morning, and I'm excited, I'm going to go. And I had convinced a couple of other people in the group to come with me. I open up my bag that has my hiking boots in it. And the rubber soles have literally melted off my hiking boots. Just crumbled, melted, crumbled. I mean, I had never seen anything like this before. Obviously couldn't wear them. I then decide, I'll do it in my chappals. I'll do it in my slippers. Now, it's 18 kilometers each way over an uneven, rocky path. Guru says don't go. The universe melts my hiking boots. I mean, the obstacle right there, right? I don't have any shoes. I'm in a place that they don't sell shoes. All I've got are my slip-on sandals. But I was stubborn. I'm heading in that path. I'm going. It doesn't matter what the obstacles are. I will. So I do it. Go out in my sandals. Trek was fine. Trek was great. 2 days later, I was flat on my back for the next 6 weeks. I had damaged something in my back so badly through the very, very long, uneven trek in sandals that gave absolutely no support to the ankles, the feet. I had just thrown out something in my back so badly that I had to postpone a trip abroad and literally needed help getting to the bathroom. Like I couldn't sit down or stand up at all 6 weeks. So I share the story because a lot of times we don't necessarily see obstacles that come as a message. And interestingly, sometimes the message is not, it's the wrong way. In my case, it was. In my case, clearly the message was, stay put. But obstacles are always a message. Sometimes it's a message, change path. Sometimes it's simply a message to be more resolved. Sometimes it's a message that the universe realizes you need something. Whatever this obstacle is, you are going to gain something from it that you otherwise wouldn't gain, that you need on your path. But every single one of these is a very important purpose, whether it's to strengthen us, whether it's to stop us so that we can find the right path. They're not there for the universe just to drive us crazy. So when you're walking on your path and you have an obstacle, the question becomes, is this obstacle here because the path is wrong? Or is the obstacle here to strengthen me? And there's no cookie cutter answer to that. You've got to go within and ask yourself. Typically in life, if we are moving with our dharma, it's much more like rowing a boat downstream than rowing a boat upstream. Typically, if we are constantly rowing a boat upstream and getting nowhere, it's an important lesson that maybe our boat is facing in the wrong direction. But now that doesn't mean that following your dharma means that everything is easy. Doesn't mean everything goes your way. Doesn't mean the universe always cooperates. Doesn't mean you don't get a flat tire. Doesn't mean that there aren't rapids along the way. But it just means that in general, you feel much more like you are in the flow of the universe rather than against the flow of the universe. And here's where the way to know is what part of me is pushing me? If there's an obstacle, or I feel like I'm rowing my boat upstream, question is, what part of me is rowing? Is it my ego? Is it my ego that says, gotta do it, gotta do it, gotta do it? When I was 20 years old, I had hiked up the Grand Canyon in sandals. Hiked down in hiking boots. I had gotten very bad blisters and couldn't put my hiking boots back on, had hiked back up in sandals. I was 20. When I hiked out to Gomok in sandals, I was 40-something. But my ego was so stuck with, I'm still 20, I can do it, that it was a pull of the ego. It was not, and if I had been honest and looked within, I would have known that. It was not that spiritual pull of, supposed to do this. It was my ego saying, gotta do it, gotta do it, gotta do it. I'm a trekker. I can do anything. This is ego. And so is it the ego saying, I'm supposed to be the president of this company, I'm supposed to be the CEO, I'm supposed to be a millionaire, I'm supposed to be this, I'm supposed to be that, I'm supposed to have this? That's the ego driving us. But when you're quiet, you can actually feel the difference inside between when the ego drives us and when we're pulled by the divine flow of life. One of them is a constriction. We become constricted. Our vision becomes very, very narrow. One of them is an expansion. And so when you feel like, gotta do it, but there's this obstacle, but it's just an obstacle and I hate it and get it out of my path, I'm supposed to walk that way. Take a moment and check in. What part of you is pushing? And the other question, of course, is, and what exactly is wrong with where you are right now? If that obstacle, if that boulder on your path were dropped there, such that you couldn't actually move, what exactly is wrong with where you are? What part of you says, gotta keep moving on this path, gotta keep moving on this path? And that's a really important inner question. Because ultimately, from the spiritual perspective, where you are right now, right here, is exactly perfect and exactly right. And so why the hang-up about where you think you've got to go? Maybe right now, you're supposed to just be right here. And so obstacles on our path give us a beautiful opportunity for introspection. And whether we continue on the course with a renewed resolve, because we know it is the flow of the universe, whether we change course, or whether we decide to simply sit down and meditate for a while, right here, right now. All of them are great outcomes. And the obstacles provided it. The obstacles given us the opportunity to stop and look. I can't tell you how many people in the world I know who have had horrible illnesses, terminal, non-terminal, but maybe they thought it was terminal, who have actually said, I'm so glad I had that. Wouldn't wish it on anyone I love, but in retrospect, I'm so glad that I had that. Because what it did was, it actually forced me to slow down and to reevaluate and to relook at actually what was most important, actually what path I was on, actually where I was running. There's nothing like a terminal illness or having a loved one have a terminal illness to suddenly make what's really important very clear. Suddenly all of that which is not important just disappears immediately. And so sometimes obstacles are there because what the universe really wants from us is to understand what's important. And if that obstacle is going to make that happen, then so be it. So we should never feel punished or harassed by the universe or chosen against or somehow as though the universe is against us. We should always look at our obstacles and first of all say thanks for the opportunity and understand why it might be given to us and what we're supposed to learn from it and how we're supposed to grow from it. Otherwise, what you find is you keep having the same obstacles in this life, over lifetimes. We keep having the same pattern, same type of obstacles keep coming up until we understand the message.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth Radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Like Baldwin with People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. I grew up loving circuses and other traveling animal shows, but it never occurred to me what life might be like for the animals. Training wild animals to do things they don't understand takes force. Routine discipline with a hook or whip with the heel of a boot shows the animal exactly who's the boss. Don't patronize animal acts. Please contact People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals.
757-622-PETA.
Welcome back. This is Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati with inspiration and transformation. So the passion is art, and what's the childhood dream? Defense. Fantastic. Fantastic. So here's the beautiful thing about art. You don't actually have to get paid for it in order to create it. No matter what you do in life, you can create art. You can be an artist and the Government of India Defense Minister. Why not? In fact, it would be fantastic. I mean, I would love to know that our defense minister also painted or sculpted or wrote poetry. How beautiful that would be. Art, music, writing, all of these things in that field are gifts. And those of us who have a gift know something very important, which I'm going to share with you. When you don't use your gift, you suffer. Now, fortunately, you're young enough that I hope you haven't suffered yet. But in your life, if you have a gift to create art and you don't create art, you will suffer. At some point in your life, when you find yourself suffering from inexplicable depression, everything is going great. You're the Defense Minister of India. You've got a great family, you've got a great job, everything is perfect, and for some reason you are depressed and you have no idea why. Ask yourself when the last time you created art was. And chances are that will be the reason. Gifts that are given to us by the universe are given to us because they need to be expressed. And so whether it's painting, sculpting, drawing, writing, singing, music, playing music, writing music, singing music, whatever it may be, do it. But here's the other thing about art. It doesn't care if you pay it for it. It has no attachment whatsoever to being paid for its efforts. The production of art is actually its own reward. The act of painting, drawing, singing, writing is its own reward. And the problem comes when we start to think that just because it's my passion, it should also be my career. And this is where you get stuck. Because it's very difficult to actually support yourself financially as an artist. If you go into most of the restaurants in Los Angeles, New York, and you say to the waiter or the waitress, "So what are you really?" What you'll hear is, "Well, really, I'm a singer, but, I'm waiting tables until I get the gig that's going to help me support myself." Or, "I'm actually really a screenwriter, but I'm waiting tables until somebody buys a manuscript that I write." Or, they're all artists, but artists who are unable to support themselves in their art, but not wanting to give up the hope that they're going to be able to support themselves in their art. And so they're waiting tables in restaurants. There's nothing wrong with that. It's absolutely one way to do it. But if you've got a childhood dream to be in defense, then you've got a fabulous way to do it, which is be an artist. But don't decide that art has to get money for you, that has to be your career. Follow your childhood dream for defense. Go to school for that. Take the exams for that. Follow that path. And keep creating art. You'll be a wonderful, wonderful asset to this nation and to the world. So, regardless of what that dream is, and this is true for all artists, if it's very important to you, if you've made your mind up that you've got to make this your career, and you want to wait tables in the meantime, by all means do that. But if you're not so interested in waiting tables, and there's actually something else that seems like a nicer way to make a living, and you've got other skills that you could use, and you're okay letting go of the idea temporarily, even who knows what the universe will bring, that you're actually going to become an artist who makes their living doing art, then that's wonderful. Because art just wants to be expressed. Doesn't need to be paid for. So have a career. Have a passion. Have more than one passion. Have hobbies. That's fantastic. But don't think that just because something's a hobby, that you should stop being the defense minister if you're loving it, and that you have to make that your career. This is how you can create a very full life for yourself. Well, first of all, to have parents who push you toward your passion, consider yourself really blessed. I mean, yeah, a round of applause for her parents. That's very unusual. It's always the opposite. I've got a passion, but my parents have decided that I have to be an engineer. If your parents are pushing you towards your passion, thank them. Tell them that's wonderful. And let them help you find ways to create art. And have them help you do what you need to do to go into defense. Because you can do both, as we've just discussed. But thank them for having the love and the support to hold that passion of yours. And help them understand that your dream is to do defense. I'm sure they'll support that too. They sound like very, very supportive people. Yeah, really. To have parents who push you toward a passion of art is a great blessing. So feel very thankful. This brings to a close this hour of inspiration and transformation. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad to be together with you all each week, and I look forward to being together again next Thursday, same time, on OMTimes Radio.